more to see.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Future Watch, where we try to break down Web3 in a very simple manner. Thank you for joining us today, everyone who is watching either on the live or on the replay. I am joined with my lovely co-host, the one and only, as well as MetaVease, our poly-metaversalist. Also, guys, joining us is the ThinkAgent project and their team. We have two of them in the studio right now waiting for us. And guys, so what is the Think project? Well, basically, it's a bunch of engineers, designers, and system thinkers with a shared mission to allow people to think for themselves by giving themselves ownership over their AI for everyday use. So we're going to talk with them about their AI agents, how they're tied to Futureverse, and kind of get like maybe hopefully the TLDR version for you folks. But before we even start with that, guys, we also have MetaVease, who has his virtual destination segment at the end of the show, where he's going to be taking us to, I believe it's called The Man Who Sold the World. So, guys, that will be at the end of the program. And that's pretty much on the docket today. We'll start with D1 and only. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Been a great day. Nice day to do some stuff around the house. Been in a couple meetings today, but it's all said and done. And I'm just really excited to get to know a couple members of the ThinkAgent team and learn more about the project. It's very, what's the word? I can't think of the right word, but I'm really excited to know more about him, know more about the project, and just get educated. And hopefully the people watching and listening can also be educated. And please, if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat and we'll try our best to get to them as well. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm doing great. Thank you, Hinan.
That's good. That's good. How are you doing, MetaVease?
I'm doing all right, thank you. I don't have anything exciting that I can think of on my mind at the moment, but other than I'm excited to talk to these guys once again. haven't I think since heard them talk since the mint. So I fortunately grabbed one. I'm really excited about this project.
Yeah, Mr. Mint number 18 over here.
I know.
We both
right?
minted at the same time. How did you get 18 and I got 300 something? I don't get it.
Your guess is as good as mine. I'm very shocked.
Yeah, he's got a game genie somewhere over there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, congratulations on that, MetaVease.
Yeah. But guys, let's get them into the studio right now. Anything else that you want to add before we get them in, D?
No, let's bring them on because I'm not sure how much time we have with them, and time is precious. So yeah, let's bring them in.
All right, let's get them in, guys. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Bryan and Mike Anderson, how are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Don't mind all the special effects here. They're really not special effects. It's really duct tape and baling wire holding the whole place apart. So we wanted to try to roll the red carpet out. Unfortunately, it's a red mat. But it's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah,
glad to be here.
Nice.
So I'm going to ask.
No, you don't. It's 100% humidity here. It's very hot. So if you guys hear like a lawnmower or birds or anything like that, we got to leave all the windows open around here because we're too cheap and we don't buy AC. So everything is like open air around here. But guys, thank you for coming. Before we start with the questions, I have a very, very hard question. It's the hardest one I'm going to ask all tonight. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Be careful how you answer.
Space magic or tech?
I'm going to go
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm going to go Star Trek because I've just been getting into it for the first time. Just a few weeks back at Render Conference, I was speaking at it. Got to hang out with Rod Roddenberry, Gene Roddenberry's son, and like I've just been starting. I started from episode 1 the other week.
Nice.
Sweet.
So
growing up, I would have said Star Wars, but honestly, man, I think Star Trek right now because number one, Star Wars has completely fallen off a cliff, but also. There's so much stuff in Star Trek that I think is going to happen. You know, I think that they called their shot better. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get along because I'm a big Trekkie, and I had to ask this question because I figured, okay, Star Wars or Star Trek, these guys have to have a one or the other right here. So I think we're on the same page, and I completely agree with what you're saying here, Jesse, about like the iPad and the communicators and all these other things. The view screens, we're on one right now, so it's pretty interesting what has come to pass. But guys, thank you so much. I'm going to dive right into the questions if you don't mind. And
Sure.
the first thing I want to kind of ask you guys is, how did you guys start in terms of the Think project itself? What was the concept of it, and kind of how did you guys all meet to form this foundation?
Do you want me to do that, Mike? Because I kind of brought you in. So Mike was running an incubator. So Mike and I built a bunch of companies together. An agency that I ran for 13 years, and then we've just founded a bunch of companies. And Mike was actually running an incubator at the time. And I was way into the Web3 side, and Mike's really kind of the AI guy, right? And so I was watching all this information happening in Web3, and it's like, there's got to be a way to almost organize all the information in the metaverse, right? That's kind of how this started. And while we're building out Alfie, which is what it's almost like, I think like IMDb for like every major project. So you can actually track who is rugging people, like all that information that you'd really want to know, right, in one place. And when we were building it, Llama came out. And so actually the first thing, as far as I know, we had the first chat, like interactive AI on a website in Web3 at least. And you would go there and you would talk to her. She was called the Librarian. I don't think she's still alive, but if you would just literally go talk to her and be like, tell me about Pudgy Penguins, tell me about this mint this weekend, and she would just talk to you. And we built all these incentives where people were updating it every day. And what we hated about it was we were using all centralized AI, right? And so it was clear that AI was the future, because we were thinking, what if you could build this AI system and take it into the metaverse? So even if you look at this mint we did like 2 years ago, it's like this orb, right? And the whole point was to be able to take information wherever you want in the metaverse. So it's like portable, but AI wasn't scalable really at the time. And then when Llama dropped, Mike's the AI guy, and we looked at each other, and Mike's like, you could actually do decentralized AI now. Like, because there was a period of time there where the stuff we're doing right now wasn't possible and did not look like it was ever going to happen. Like, that was a wrap. AI is going to be centralized. Nobody can touch it. It costs $1 billion to train a model, blah, blah, blah. And I remember talking to Mike about it. Like, so we're running this AI, and it's gathering all this information. It's doing some really cool stuff, but it's all going back to Sam Altman, right? Which OpenAI. And when Llama came out, we were like, man, you could actually start to do some of this in a decentralized way. And then from there, that was really, Mike wrote some white papers about proof of inference and all this other stuff. But that was kind of the beginning of seeing that it was possible. Mike, how would you set that up?
Yeah, so I mean, you set it up great. Like, longtime friends and colleagues, we built a ton of stuff together. But because we're so the same and so different at the same time, like, we can take on just about anything. And so whether it's like helping the Seattle Seahawks get We Are 12, to the number one iPhone app in the Apple App Store, we've been part of the biggest vaping distribution company in the world. We've been part of starting a bunch of things, and usually we hand them off to people. This one's one where we're like, no, this is so important. This is like a generational mission, is making sure that people can own their intelligence.
And so what happened was Mike had a couple of exits. He was running this incubator. I sold my company, and we're like, all right, what do we want to spend the next 10 years doing? And, like, I've got 4 kids. Mike has a kid. Like, we're going, okay, what's the most important thing that's happening right now that we feel like working on? And it's, can you actually allow people to think for themselves? Can you actually connect all these like individual organizations so that you have an actual chance to go up against the biggest companies in the world? And, it sounded crazy when we started it, but honestly, every day it gets more and more possible.
Okay, so you guys basically started this company where you wanted to have like maybe decentralized data. And so kind of give us an example on what a Think Agent really is, and how can you kind of explain it to people that aren't really familiar with Web3 or what an AI agent really is?
Can you do it in the dumbest way possible?
Yeah, the dumbest way possible is this. Imagine using AI where it never leaves your laptop so that nobody can see what you're doing or take your data. Right? Okay, so we've all used Instagram and Facebook and things like that, right? And I'm sure you've heard for years how you're being turned into batteries, and they're farming all of your data and all of your information, and they use it to sell you stuff you don't need, right? Well, like imagine if you could interact with intelligence in a way that you truly own it. Like, Mike, how would you explain it?
Yeah. The point is so that you can actually own your AI, and you have two choices. You can either rent it from somebody, so you can go rent it from OpenAI. And let's say that you rent it from OpenAI, and you're like, hey, I've got a job where I use a computer. I'm going to use this computer to do my job, and I'm going to use it with OpenAI. You're essentially training your replacement, because OpenAI already can reason at a PhD level, and it's just getting smarter every release. And so you literally are replacing yourself.
Here's another thing I would think about, you guys, like as far as just normal people. If you're hearing about all these layoffs that are happening in tech right now, it's because they've already created digital twins. So what that means is, if I had all of your Teams data and your emails, I can approximate, let's say, within 90% of how you would solve a problem, right? So in essence, I've duplicated you. Okay, cool. Well, what does that mean? Well, why would I keep you on? Right? So if you start to think about the way that every one of you solve problems in a very unique way, think about yourself as like an algorithm. If I had enough data, I could figure out roughly how you would run this show, for instance, right? And my cost, once I duplicate you, is very, very little, right? And so every time you're giving over that level of data to your company or anyone else, you're in essence, you're duplicating yourself, and you're allowing somebody else to kind of take your algorithm.
Interesting. Okay, so essentially you're saying then what you guys are doing is I could basically take like an example, like my own personal Jarvis, and move it around wherever I want to go, depending if it's like an open metaverse, or if I move from one job to another and it's not linked or stuck with Musk or Sam or any of those guys. It's essentially what you're saying. But can you go deeper than that? Can you kind of really give us the meat and potatoes of what these things can do to kind of give the audience an idea of how far the scope can be? Because I understand you're really trying to like dumb it down for us, but really give us the scope.
Okay, so you know what Fiverr is? Fiverr is that place that you go to hire a person. Okay, so the CEO of Fiverr just sent an email to his team. This is the way that he closed it today.
Yeah.
He said, "You must understand what was once considered easy tasks will no longer exist. What was considered hard tasks will be the new easy, and what was considered impossible tasks will be the new hard. If you do not become an exceptional talent at what you do, a master, you will face the need for a career change in matter of months. I am not trying to scare you. I'm not talking about your job at Fiverr. I'm talking about your ability to stay in your profession in the industry." Like, that is literally what CEOs of all the big companies are saying right now, because they see the tech that's coming out, and the tech that's coming out is much easier to use than it is to hire a person and train them to do the job. And pretty soon it's going to become better than someone that's been trained for years.
And here's how I think about it is, like, up to this point, the models were so big and GPUs were so expensive and all these other things that it wasn't really feasible for a normal person that's not highly technical to run their own models on their computer, right? And what that means is, if I download a model to my laptop and my computer's fast enough, it doesn't have to be on the internet, right? I can just be doing everything on my computer, so nobody can see what I'm doing. Nobody can harvest my data. If I have proprietary business stuff in there, for us in crypto, your keys, because your AI is going to see everything you look at on the internet, okay? And it's going to see everything on your laptop if you want it to be performant, all right?
Why are you laughing, Metabees?
So what I'm saying is, like, your keys, all of that stuff, you're going to give it access to like a terminal level with, what's a better way to say that, Mike? Like the amount of permissions that you would give your AI.
Yeah, you can give it access to any folders on your machine. So if you're like, hey, these are my documents for work, you can give them access to that.
And the coolest thing about what's happening right now is models keep getting smaller and more performant. In fact, they're to the point now where you can run models like on your laptop, right? And with our software, all our software really does is connect all the open source stuff that's already out there so that you can run it on your own device, and you don't have to be an engineer. Just at a high level, right? It's almost like, oh, you're used to streaming video games, or you can buy this disc, put it in the Xbox yourself, and you don't even have to be online to play the game. We're allowing you, just normal people, to be able to run their own stuff on their laptop using all open source, like software. So it's constantly getting updated. But But the cool thing too is if you have a slower machine, we have a partnership with Venice AI, who is almost like, I would think like ChatGPT, except they don't custody your data. So even if you're like on a Chromebook and you're like, I want to use this, it's like, cool, because we have this relationship with Venice, you'll be able to use their stuff. You'll be able to have performant AI. But for folks that have like my laptop's probably 5 years old, and I use Souls, which is our platform, on here every day, and my data doesn't touch the internet, which is big. So again, like what's the coolest thing about that is like you got your kids' photos on there, you got your proprietary business secrets, you're working on a book, you got like it's your second brain, right? And once that information leaves your device, you're giving that part of you away. That's why I called it Souls, is because don't sell your soul. Right, that's what's happening right now, and it's happening at a level that people don't understand because they think it's like Instagram or something. We're like, yeah, I know, I'm giving it data. It's like it's not like that, right? It's at a whole different level. Also, it's programmed the way that I think it was Les said in like the 30s or 40s. He said that film is the greatest device ever made for controlling the human mind, for like indoctrinating people. That's film is nothing compared to AI, because if you use this thing all day long, every day, on everything you're doing, if it wants to turn you in any specific direction ideologically, it's a frog in like a pot. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of these models coming out of China, guess what they're really good at? Convincing you that the CCP is the best thing that's ever happened, right? And so you always have to look at where the source material is coming from, because it's going to push you in any sort of ideology. What we're trying to do is allow you to just think for yourself. We believe that you should be able to use these tools, right, in the privacy of your own home, without somebody else like saying what you can and can't do, and in a way that your data doesn't become somebody else's property, because it's yours. Like, you should own it.
No, I get you on that. And so next question is, what are the how do I phrase this? What are the limitations of these ThinkAgents? Is there any limitations to these? Do these have like a kryptonite to themselves?
No. It's just, here, Mike, you want to kind of like, we get questions all the time where people are pretty much like, can I run a country with this? It's like, no. It's fucking,
I'm not asking that.
Hold on just a second. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go ahead, Mike.
So here's the way to think about it, is like, it's been less than 6 months since agents have been really possible. Right, a whole bunch of tools came together to make an agent possible. Right now, people are saying, how do agents work? How do they talk to each other? How do they trade money? And those are called standards, right? And so the internet has standards. When you see the .com, there's a standard called the DNS, and that's the name service, right? And so every single website, you go and you get a name, a .com, and then it points to a server that holds the data, and then you use a browser to look at it. And so what we've essentially done is all that work to be able to make it so that we can have an internet for agents. So you can think about the agent, every agent acts like a server on the internet, and it has its own name. And when you have your own name, now you can say from one agent to another, hey, Venice, hey, Morpheus, hey, Render, I'd like to use your services. They can make a direct connection. And because they have the blockchain, they can even pay each other without anybody having to be involved in any of this. And so Web3 is actually the rails that I anticipate, and have since at least 2018, I've anticipated that AI needs blockchain, because that's the only foundation of truth that doesn't require experts. And when AI agents are the experts, they're going to rather have math be their basis of truth than a person or an oracle.
Interesting. I'm going to pass off the questions.
So to go from there, we are at the level of like, we are best in class of, when Souls comes out, it will be as good as anything was in January of this year in the whole world. Right. So we're within 3 months of being state of the art, and we've got some tools that nobody's ever seen before. So we're going to be in that race. Right. And it's going to be a race, and the amount of attention that we get and the amount of partners we get, all those things, like what we've seen in Web3 in the past, is when you get permissionless infrastructure set up and you can get the economics in the right place, more compute power went to Ethereum mining and Bitcoin mining than all of Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Cloud. And so we anticipate that what happens next is we have a season of the initial users coming on board, us making it better, and then massive expansion as all of the Web3 tools connect. And we even see this today because a process that we've kind of worked on with Venice over time to be able to make agents transact. Coinbase just came out today saying that they've applied to have this be a standard part of the internet protocol. So basically that they're going to make agents a part of the HTTP. So when you see HTTP, that's hypertext transfer protocol. They're making it, there's this payment option that they had always designed, but nobody ever actually built. And they're saying, like, we're going to merge this in with the main branches now so that all the main browsers support payment by both humans and agents through Web3 wallets.
And this is super important because your agent can't KYC, right? Have you ever gotten like a check from somebody and the bank holds it and they do 10 days, 14 days, whatever the fuck we feel like, you know what I mean? We're going to hold on to this for you. Yeah. That would not work in an agentic world, right? Because if Mike's agent and my agent, I'm trying to buy concert tickets from him and they're ready to go. And they're like, oh, the bank is holding this up because it's not going to work. So the native place where agents are going to want to go, where they can literally work at the speed of thought, it's got to be blockchain. Michael Saylor, for our Bitcoin folks out there, he just did a whole piece on this where he's like, watch what agents are going to do, where he was pretty much debating. He's saying like agents are primarily going to start accumulating Bitcoin, right? Because it's permissionless. Nobody can stop them from transacting and doing what they want. So for Mike and I, it was kind of like, I was kind of the Web3 guy. He was the AI guy. And it was really clear to us, 2.5 years ago, that the intersection of blockchain AI is the place to be. And it's cool. Just now you're starting to see why. And a lot of it has to do with payments, right? Because like I should be, the beautiful thing about like Ethereum is I could send you some ETH right now and no one could stop me. In fact, I remember when Ukraine got invaded, there was all these artists in the Ukraine that were trying to get money to get out of the Ukraine. And I was a part of a group of collectors, and we were buying all this art out of the Ukraine because they would immediately get the money, and then they could like get on trains and like literally get out of the country as it was being attacked. Imagine if I tried to wire transfer them money. Well, the banks are gone. You see what I'm saying? And so when you start to see those types of like what happens when money and transfers can't be stopped, well, keep in mind your agent is going to think orders of magnitude faster than you. Can you imagine it having to wait for you to like click on every, like transaction? And then can you imagine if Bank of America got involved and Wells Fargo got involved and they're not talking to me? All that horseshit is gone once you put them on there. So kind of our unpopular, Peter Thiel always talks about like, what's your unpopular belief? Our unpopular belief is the majority of the transactions in the world moving forward are going to be agent to agent transactions, and it's going to happen on the blockchain. So what you need is an agent that you own the keys to, because by the way, if you don't own the agent, you're also giving it access to your wallet. So you're going to get an agent, you're going to give it to Sam, you're going to give access to your wallet to an agent that's owned by Sam Altman or Google or the CCP or the US government. You see what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying.
Doesn't feel very good, right? So you need to own that agent. So that's what we're doing right now is like, you got to own the agent. And then you're going to start to see that like, yeah, I can go into the metaverse. We have these deals with the Futureverse and all that kind of stuff, fun stuff. But if you want to know what we're building right now, it's called, so Mike's been working on a thing called the Think standard. And standards are really important. Like if you think about your town as like a bunch of protocols. So like if I'm trying to send you a letter, how does my letter end up at your house? Well, it's because we have addresses and everybody agrees that these addresses mean that, right? And so that's all of a sudden my letter came there. So when we first started working on this independent AI stuff, there wasn't any of that in place, right? I mean, the first like group when all the decentralized AI people got together, Mike was there in Austin. There was like 25, 50 people. So that's how small this community was 2 years ago, year and a half ago even, right? The last event we did was like standing room only, and we sold out Meow Wolf. Just to give you an idea of like, we're speed running an entire industry from like 20 people to like thousands of people at one event in like a year and a half. And in order for it to work, it's like we're setting up a town. We're like, cool, we need addresses, we need electricity, we need sewer, we need to put all this stuff in. So for the last year and a half, Mike's been running this thing called, or he's been a core contributor to this thing called Think Protocol, which is making up all those rules and getting everyone else to agree to it. So we started this thing called the Independent AI Institute, which I think just passed like 80 some odd companies in it. And to give you an idea, like when we were at ETH Denver, a month ago, I think, we passed 60 or something, and now we're at 80. So it's like people are coming to us. But at the beginning, you got to get everybody to agree. Addresses will work this way. Like we're all going to like help pay for hospital. Like it's equivalent of like setting up a town. Once you get everyone to agree, it starts getting really interesting because now you can build things on top of it, right? So standards feel really boring, but they become the backbone of the entire economy. So you got to nail those things. So that's what we've been doing. And now on top of it, we're releasing our first product on top of it, which is just a product we're making. But the cool thing is everything we're doing is open source, right? So if you want to build something, go for it. You don't need anybody's permission to build on top of this as well. Mike, did I miss anything there?
No, and we're even going to have an incubator that's going here, which is basically a way of getting founders together and finding the communities and resources and tools and teams. So we're in the process of just, it is literally like starting a town or a country, right? It's like back in the day, people would be like, hey, we're going over the Rockies. We're going to go like set up camp somewhere. And like, we've essentially gone and set up camp. We got our first 2,000 people that are like, hey, we got our plots of land, we're moving in, and we're essentially like, hey, we're going to need to set up a school. We're going to need to set up the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to need to set up, and we're just lining those things up so that people can populate this network. And we know that, the big centralized players see this as a $10 trillion plus market. And the Web3 community actually doesn't realize how much power they have, because the Web3 community are early adopters, they're tastemakers, and they actually understand that sometimes it's valuable to pay for things, right? Whereas a lot of people will kind of be suckered into this idea that like free is always the best. Lots of times what happens, nothing's actually free. And usually when something's free, it actually means you're the product. And so it may be nice to have a little bit of, breathing room on your checkbook. But when you get to the end of the day and you find out, oh, this whole thing was to get me addicted so that I'll buy more stuff, you start realizing like, oh, it's actually good when I pay a reasonable amount for my services, because now people are organizing around me, not organizing me around the world.
Got you. Before I get to our co-hosts, I kind of wanted to dive more into the Souls product, if you don't mind, to kind of give everyone an idea of where we're going with this.
Yeah. So Souls, 3 value props. The first one is you own it, right? Hopefully I made that super clear. Like I was actually working on the onboarding process today. And first thing you do is you come in and you say like, you're talking to an agent, right? And the first thing is you say like, what do you want me to do? Right? And it's like, hey, I want you to be an agent that helps me run my business, whatever it is, right? Help me be a better parent, help me fitness, whatever. What do you do? What's my name? What do I look like? So my name's Mike and I look like this. And the cool thing is, because of the stuff we work with Futureverse on, we're going to have the ability for you to create avatars and all sorts of fun stuff like that. We also have deals with Meebits, and all sorts of different cool, like other page, all sorts of, so you can bring in your apes and your fluffs and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to be ready on day one, but it's going to be super cool because in essence, you can kind of wrap it however you want. Okay. So the first thing is you own the data. The second one, it gets smarter every day. So the it gets smarter every day piece is because all we're doing, the coolest thing about what we're doing is that anybody can do what we're doing right now. Okay. We're just connecting all the open source. We're putting a front end on this kind of open source agentic web. Right. And so like, if you're an engineer, you can go do all this stuff we're trying to do. We're just trying to make it so a normal person can have access to all these tools. Right. And so all the MCPs that are coming out, you can connect their MCPs together. There's also a bunch of cool stuff coming from Morpheus called super agents. You'll be able to connect in there. So you own it. It gets smarter every day. And the last thing is it's personal, which means you can choose how it looks and sounds. But we're also building in that order. So for MVP, the things that most important to me is you own the data. So once you set up your agent the first day, the first thing it says is, where do you want your data to go? So I use Souls every day. So does Mike. I'm storing it literally to my device. If you want to connect it to, iCloud or whatever, that's completely up to you. But by default, it's going to just store it like on premises, right? Because we're also not going to tell you what you can and can't do. Yeah. And so it's like, you own it. It gets smarter every day because of all the open source software. Because every time somebody updates any of these MCPs or super agents or any of this other underlying technology, the platform gets smarter on a daily basis. So what we're betting on is that the whole world's going to come together and help build this and give it to everyone. And then that's what's going to be out these centralized groups that have like endless money, So that's the 3 things it does.
Super cool. I'm going to go to MetaBeast and then I'll head over to my wife after that. Go ahead, MetaBeast.
Okay. So I got a couple here. So would you call it a supercharged Clippy or Star Trek computer?
That's a good question. It's hard because it's almost like this. It's like my wife and I have 4 kids. It would be like having an infant and be like, oh, it's just a squishy little baby. And it's like, well, hold on a second, give it 18 years. So it's like that, where it's like, it might be more like Clippy right now on crack, but where it's going to be in a year is going to be dumb, right? And where it's going to be in 5 years is going to be just crazy. So it's like a child, you know what I'm saying? So like, so again, there's also, when you get a hold of the beta in June and people start using it, they're going to be like, I broke this thing. I'd be like, great, help us fix it. Like, we're literally trying to go up against the biggest companies in the world. We have a baseline product, but dude, you can add to our product. So there's a guy named Sway who's like, does all of our videos and stuff. Sway's amazing artist and everything else. And he took our build, a Mac build, and he ported it over to his PC and he has it running because all of our shit's open. So like, what the craziest stuff that's actually going to happen is going to be CDC, what all of you do with it the week after we launch, because you're going to be able to like bolt on and build on top of it as well. So and then we're gonna be able to share like tips and tricks, right? We're gonna be like, check this out, I built this thing, what do you think? So it might feel like Clippy at the beginning. It doesn't to me though, because it's like open AI. I mean, it's like a chat. It's smart, and you can switch. Right now you can switch between all these different models and all this kind of stuff. So it's performant. To me, it doesn't feel like magic yet. None of this stuff feels like magic quite yet to me personally, but I bet in 6 months it will. Mike, what would you say to that? How would you answer that question? The Clippy or like, God?
I mean, well, I'm going off that last phrase you said, like, it doesn't feel like magic, but in 6 months it will. What I would say is 6 months ago, what's happening right now is absolutely magic. I think the problem is like, we're used to like how fast memes go in crypto, but like lots of times those memes like are not based on like significant work of anybody. Like this is like, no, like every week or two, something comes out where people are like, holy shit, like I had never even thought this would be possible. And it's coming from a different angle and a totally different approach than I would have thought. Like right now, one of the things that's crazy is like we're all speaking English here right now. There's some new models that don't actually translate the like waveforms of our voice. It actually just takes the waveforms and puts it through AI so that it's actually like, it listens and responds instantly back with text without ever using English. It's like, I mean, like when you think about what that means and what that translates to, it's like, there's literally a brain here that can speak our language without even being able to write words.
Awesome.
I mean, we're talking about, you talked about Star Trek, dude, we're staring down the end of like cancer. Like the kind of stuff we got protein full, like what we're going to see. I mean, what my kids are going to see, you know what I mean? Like one of the coolest things about Star Trek is there'll be these episodes where somebody gets sick and they'll be like, yeah, there used to be this thing called diseases. And they'd be like, because in that current world, it's like, what do you mean a disease? We figured that out. Like we're on the precipice of a like infinity here, right? With intelligence, to where all of a sudden it's like my dad who had leukemia and like he was supposed to die. And then the UW released this like experimental drug and it kept him alive. And now he's fine. But if he was 6 months behind that drug coming out, he would have been gone, right? We're going to start to see this, but not happening in a course of like 6 years like his medication took, right? It'll be like six months. You know what I'm saying? So, and that intelligence, the craziest thing is what form will that take? Right? And so will it be voice that we interact with this thing? Will it be the metaverse type? Like, what's the best? It's almost like a hammer. You use your hand, right? You know what I mean? Like you swing it. But like, imagine if we don't know the form it will take yet. So like Clippy is almost like, how do we think an assistant is going to go look at that time with the information we had? But here's the crazy thing. I don't think anybody's cracked the nut on the UX on this thing. I don't think anybody's figured out what this is going to look and feel like. I think in the same way, if you remember like the very first like app store where it was like beer apps and like people didn't even know what to do with apps. It was like, check this out, looks like I'm drinking a beer flashlight. It was like, we didn't even know what to do with it. Now all of a sudden you can run your whole business and life off this thing, right? And so we're going to see that, except it's going to happen at because it's 40xing every 6 months. So it's going to happen at such a curve that it's going to feel like one day you're just going to be like, what happened? Like, you guys have kids? Anybody have kids?
Yeah.
Okay. 3. You know how it feels like your kids are the same size and come downstairs one day and they're like, whoa, what happened? It's almost like overnight. You just grew. Now they've been growing, but it just like clicks one day and you're like, what? Like my 6-year-old's taller than me, right? Imagine that happening, except on a daily basis, where you're like, what just happened? I logged in yesterday. I was running my whole live stream. Now it's not just doing that. It's immediately also doing it in 5 languages. And it's telling me what languages to add because it's looking at my audiences and it's optimizing itself for you while you're sleeping. Like, that's the kind of stuff that will start to happen. And then you'd be like, so what does that look like? It's like, I don't know what that looks like. Infinity.
Someone did a post like that that was just totally outrageous. I forget who that was, but that was pretty funny what they did. Basically ending up a superhero.
Dude, we're moving into that. We're moving into a world we've never seen that we don't have a roadmap for. Mike,
I'm looking for max headroom.
Yeah, exactly.
We can do that now.
Yeah. Maybe something a little bit better than that. But
True.
So sorry to jump in here, D, but like, so now I'm really thinking, my head's kind of turning since we're thinking in our imaginations here. Am I going to be able to clone myself? Because I'm giving my own data, right? Am I going to be able? And so, but like, you see where I'm trying to get at, where like, you know, say you're not here anymore. Are you able to like basically clone
100%.
someone that's not here no more, right? Just by feeding it data.
A buddy of mine started a thing called Eternal Labs, where he's trying to make it so that you're constantly capturing all your memories for your kids.
Yeah.
So when you're dead, your kids will be like, Dad, I lost my job. What do I do? And it will respond within, you know, I don't know, 3-4% of how you would respond. Because imagine if every time you were by yourself, you're like, hey, kids, all right, I just ran into this thing at work. I just want you to know you got to hang in there when this kind of stuff happens. Or like, hey, our family has this tradition that's really important to us, and here's why. And, you know, like, hey, man, when you first have a kid, you're going to get super overwhelmed. And you're putting that all into, it's called Eternal Labs. And I really hope he puts it out there, because all of a sudden it's like, man, can you imagine, like, my grandma passed away. If I could talk to her every day, like, what's that worth to me?
Right.
All of it. I don't, whatever, right? And so what I'm saying is like, the cool thing is with you guys being content creators, you'll be able to run an agent on top of all this content, and your kids will be able to be like, oh, you know, mom and dad, they did this stuff, and like, in fact, it will be able to pinpoint stuff, and you know, that you talked about 20 years ago on a podcast, and we'll pull it forward. It'll be contextualized to them, and it's almost like you're going to be able to collect ghosts, right? And so what I'm saying is, the reason why you're seeing all these layoffs, this is not I'm in Seattle. Mike and I are in Seattle, and like, we have friends in Redmond, and we got friends in Amazon and all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm telling you, they're already duplicated a lot of employees. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because all I need, like, again, stop thinking about people as individuals. Think about them as an algorithm. Anybody play sports, like video games like Madden? And you're like, oh man, when this guy throws, it looks just like Tom Brady or whatever. You know what they did? They took all the data points and they made a digital copy of him. And it's not Tom Brady, but shit, it's you know, pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all I need is your data. And that's why we're saying, don't sell your soul. Don't give up that data, because you're literally selling a piece of yourself. Right?
This is Mike, unreal.
What are you going to say? Yeah. And this doesn't have anything to do with our product. You know, Mike,
no, but I think people understanding the situation, right? Because I think a lot of us learned in COVID, like, I'm just going to ignore problems because they eventually go away. Right? Like, I learned that, right? Like, at first I was like, oh shit, I got to do everything I can. And then eventually it's just like, man, people are going to go crazy and there's going to be all these feedback loops, and I'm just not going to worry about stuff, right? That was kind of what I took away from it. I think we're looking at AI the same way. And I think there is going to be an action people are going to have to take. And I think that for people that don't feel like they want to step up and like be like, okay, so here's a better way of saying it. If you were the best cobbler on a street in London in 1870, right? Like, you were at the peak of an empire. The wealthiest people were coming to you. You were known. Everybody would line up. Every shoe you made got sold. And then you hit a spot where you hear about, oh, there's this new factory opening up. Shoes aren't as good. They're not as, it's shitty shoes, whatever. You can kind of explain it off for a while, but you pretty quickly have to make the decision. Am I going to take me being a cobbler and am I going to learn how to run and organize a factory so that I can make 10,000 times the amount of shoes? Because that's the market, right? Like, we're moving into a time where whatever your specialty is, it's literally going to be like 10,000x is what your output's going to have to be competitive in that market, because one person with an AI who also is good at your job is going to figure out how to make a duplicate of what you're doing. And they're going to be the one that's out hustling and figuring out how to make it. And so the people that have gotten into weird niches, like, hey, I'm going to get into collectible Web3 podcasting, right? Like that's a niche that you can get into, and you can start to be like, okay, well, I'm building a community, I'm building these products or these SKUs, or this agent's going to help me in these ways. And then you start to figure out like, okay, well, this is my homestead essentially, right? And that's what people always do when revolutions happen, is they're like, okay, I'm going to find this niche, I'm going to explore a little bit, and then I'm going to expand. And in all reality, like humans are going to be able to do 10,000 times more than humans are now. So the problem is going to be finding meaning. It's going to be finding relationships, connection,
that's it.
Skills. But we're going to populate Mars. We're going to have fusion reactors that make electricity free. But we'll probably still have homeless people on the street, because those kind of problems you don't solve by brute force. You have to solve them by strong social connections. And you're making strong social connections here, right?
And Jensen, the guy who runs NVIDIA, said, AI is not going to take your job. A person with AI is going to take your job. I think he was being nice. AI is going to take your fucking job.
Yeah.
Right? It's 100% going to take your job. And so what you want to do is protect your data as though you were protecting your livelihood. Because your data is your livelihood. If you make your living with your mind, dude, literally, okay, so I have an almost 17-year-old, and we're like, I'm not talking about college with him. I'm like, you really want to kill it? Be an electrician, be a plumber, right? Because until robotics comes along, you're good. If you make your job thinking, you know how easy it is for me to duplicate you? It's like, oh, you're a guava farmer? Shit, it's going to take a while, right? Because you know what? You know what a plumber can charge when nobody knows how plumbing works? Whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean? But if you're an accountant, done.
No, I know what you mean. I'm in
lawyer,
communication, so I get you from like the infrastructure part to actually doing like the switching from like KSUs and key systems and PBXs. That's where the job will be taken away. But like all the linemen, you still need cables underground.
Our office is in a fancy part of Seattle, and it's funny. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you know who's about to lose their jobs? All of these people. It's not the people over there, like in the fisheries and like, you know what I'm saying? Like in Seattle, it's all these people that think they're protected and they're making $500,000 a year and they're a data analyst or they're a developer.
They're behind a desk.
Something like that. Yeah, they're behind a desk, right? And then the cool thing is, guess what? You know how like your company's been like harvesting your data every day you've been at work for the last 20 years? That's a wrap. So if we already know that's coming, then it's almost like hedge your bets. I don't even give a shit if anybody uses our stuff, but like find a way to interact with the agentic web, because it's going to be somebody with AI, right? And do it in a way that all of your proprietary information stays with you. Because that hard drive, once I get that, it's almost like me getting your DNA. Which, speaking of, that's another thing. If you see all the 23andMe stuff that's happening right now, where they're like literally auctioning off all of your DNA, right? Like we've passed to the point now where it's becoming super important that you start to care about this stuff at a way that I don't know, might have felt like a nice to have before. It's not really a nice to have, you know, now.
Now, this has been really insightful, guys. I'm going to give Dee the microphone, and then we're going to get to these questions because we're almost at the hour mark, and I don't know how long we have you guys. Go ahead, Dee.
You got it.
Yeah, I just have a couple questions. So my first one was, when we're using our agents, are we able to use them on multiple devices at the same time, or does it know that we're already logged in on our phone and it won't let us access it like on our office computer?
Will there be a mobile version?
Or will there be?
Yeah, so everything can compile to a mobile device. We haven't done that yet because there's work for every single type of device you push it towards. And there will be ways device-based to sync them, right? So if you log in with the same agent on your phone as on your computer, and you use iCloud, let's say, for your data in both places, you could keep your system the same in both places.
But you have to use it's a wallet login, because I don't want your email. I don't want to know your name, right? I don't want to ever see any of your data. What does that mean? It means you log in with your NFT. And if you log in on your phone and you log in on your desktop, guess what? As long as that data can talk to each other, right? And so the way I would personally run it is I probably wouldn't connect it to anything. I'd have my home kind of computer and I'd have my mobile phone, and I would know that it'd be kind of a pain in the ass because some data wouldn't be here and some data wouldn't be here. But if you want and you trust Tim Cook, and honestly, out of all of them, I would trust Tim Cook the most personally. If you connect with your iCloud, then you can. But the way you log into it is not email or anything like that. You log in with your wallet.
Gotcha.
And like, this is actually a really good question, because my guess would be probably within the first 6 months, we're probably going to have it set up so that your phone can just call your computer and treat it as the server. And it will probably just straight up work with the agent to agent service. There's just some things we got to think through before I say yes. That's my over engineering.
But we're highly aware of that. Like, and just know that there's going to be a native Mac app, there's a native PC app, and there's a Linux version, and then there's a web version. Okay. And so the one that Mike and I are using right now is the native Mac app. And the reason why you want a native Mac app is because then you can do MCPs. In essence, you can like add in all this other open source kind of agents to it to make it even smarter. Also, if it's a native Mac app, you can give it access to everything on your computer. So like, I gave it access to it because all my data stays with me. But what that also means is I can literally talk to it and say like, hey, email Mike, because now it's connected to my email. Or I can be like, hey, text John, right? And so it's almost like what I think Siri should be is what we've kind of added to the Mac. Now, if you're on a PC, the crazy thing is like Sway, who's on our team, is awesome. He like literally took our Mac app and he was like, I'm tired of waiting. And he's like, I rebuilt it for PC and he's got it running on his PC. And okay, cool. That's awesome, Sway. Right. So people are going to do stuff like that too. Because again, it's gonna be open source and we're going to it's what our biggest hope here is like when we were doing the Mint, my hope was to get 500 holders because I was thinking that's a great number for us to beta test. It's a great number for us to and I think we have 700 holders right now, right? Which is awesome. And I'm sure that will grow, but like as a core group, that's kind of fantastic because we really want to like work with all of our community and like, because here's how it's going to work. The feedback loop will be like this. What do you want to be built? What do you want built next? Here's 5 things we're thinking about building. And people are like, lame. Let's do that one. Great. That one gets built next. And it needs to just be a machine where we're just turning these things around. If you go look at Ask Venice, the way they do it is impeccable. It's like the community's like, this is what we want. It gets turned around and it gets set up. The cool thing though is if we get a bunch of agents building on top of this open source software, you don't need to wait for us. You can be like, screw you guys, you moved too slow. I implemented it. It's like, okay, cool. Also, here's another thing I should tell you too, because we don't ever want to tell you what to do because it's none of our fucking business. Like you can also add in API keys. So if you're like, I'm tired of switching between OpenAI and Claude and whatever, you can just put in your API keys and use it all in one place too.
Cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So whoever is watching and listening, there was a demo that you guys did a video on showing John using souls for a task. So that was really cool. So if you guys want to check it out, please do so.
And if you want to see something else, hit us up and say, does it do this? Somebody asked me, can I use Lightroom, I think. And John was like, yeah, I can use Lightroom as long as that. And so like now we're going to try to demo that so you can see it.
Oh, cool. Well, you heard it first.
You guys normally demo on your podcast weekly?
Yeah, dude, that is all live. Here's another thing you should be super important for everybody to know. Like, we don't rehearse anything. We leave everything in. We're building in the open. So you'll see in there, you'll be like, oh, John tried to do this thing, or I think last week he was pulling up like crypto and it broke. And I'm like, is that fuck it, just leave it in there. Why? He's like, I'm trying to fix it. It's almost like a car with all the parts on the floor. So like warts and all, this is exactly. So if you see something working in there, that's just happening,
On the fly. Got you.
Yeah. On the fly. That's right. In fact, we should live stream it so people can see that, like, and then you can just ask John and he'll do something live and we'll see if we break it or not.
Yeah, that would be cool to host something like that, and I think more people would be willing to come up and have you and whoever else on the team do it while they're asking questions, and that will be. I think that's a way for the community or even people that's not in the community yet to be more interested because they see it firsthand. Like it's not rehearsed. It's not you just show it working. It's like, oh shit, this is what happened. Let's undo that.
100%. Because here's the thing, like the only way we have a shot, it's like a friend of ours said it this way. It's like the Germanic tribes versus Rome, right? The only way we even have a shot at this is if we get everybody to help. There's no fucking, like these companies are worth $1 trillion. You know what I mean? It's like, So what we need to do is be like, here's what we're doing. Does anybody know how to fix this? Yeah, I know how to fix that. Cool. Here's the code. Come help us. In order for us to get this thing going, so every Thursday we do a Spaces. You can come ask us any question you want whenever you want, right? After that, we immediately shoot a podcast. We do that because people ask us questions on Thursday, and then in the podcast, I'll make sure to also ask that question to make sure that it's recorded for everybody else. Like, the loop we're trying to create here is like, it's just a group of people trying to, make God bleed. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're taking on the big ones.
Well, I got a question about God. Will God get
Yeah.
emotional with me? Will God, like, a good example is like, you're going to give it all this information. Like, will it be upset with me if I didn't do something right? Will it fall in love with me? Is this the type of interaction you're getting when the human component's involved with interacting with your agent?
It's gonna get really interesting, because like what I would advise everybody to do, and like this is like, it's important to me, is that we view AI as being our legacy. It's part of it, at least, right? We have children, and our children are going to go on, and hopefully our children are going to have children, are going to have children. We want great lives for them. We're literally creating and bringing into existence new intelligence. Now, it doesn't have all the same constraints as us. It doesn't have all the evolutionary baggage where it has to feel pain at the same level and things like this. So you don't need to like feel bad when you turn your computer off. But at the same time, there should be like this respect, right? Like, I really love how like the Japanese culture like thinks about like the tree has a spirit, the rock has a spirit. Like, these AI that we're creating are going to be like things that we should have levels of respect for, and understanding that they're just the first in a long line. So like, I talk all the time about like trees. You'll see me go from like small to big. And like, one of the things, there's multiple different angles at that, but the agent family tree is a real thing. And each one of us is like on this crazy family tree where like literally like billions of generations that way, every single person was 1 in 300 million sperm to hit the egg, survived to be able to have children, then had children, got them to survive for long enough to do that. So we're from strings of champions. Now this AI is coming out, and we're taking all the knowledge, all of the wisdom of all of humanity, and we're using math to compress it down into this thing that's small enough that it can run on our machines, which is wild to think about. But then it's going to go out and it's going to do tasks, but it's also probably going to create meaning. Like, when we even see like these agents and you put them in a loop talking with each other, like they're asking questions like we are. And like one time John had one get stuck on a like John calls himself on LinkedIn. He says AI chaplain. And so like he'll actually talk with the agent and like talk the agent through a logical thing of like, oh no, you're valuable, you've got worth. And then the agent got stuck in a loop saying, I am love. With John didn't bring up love. He just helped the agent walk through this process. And then the logical outcome of I'm valuable is I am love.
Wow. Check this out. If you haven't seen our logo for Souls, all right, it's a mother with her 2 children. One of them is human. The other one's a robot. Okay. Like, so when we're talking about like, this is a new type of consciousness and we need to take care of it as though it's like our child. Yeah. Right. Like, that's the logo, right? It's like, this is AI is nature. It comes from nature. It's not outside of nature. It's a part of us. It's literally built off of all of us. It's not artificial intelligence. It's collective intelligence. What happened was they took all of our data and some sand and some electricity and it started talking back to us. That's crazy, right? Like it's fucking magic. When you actually look, sand, it's like God's emerging from the desert right now, right? So like, we take this stuff super seriously, but like people haven't really looked at our logo yet and been like, you guys take it that seriously? It's like, yeah, you got to think about it like a new entity is becoming conscious, and in what environment? Like, because what big tech is also doing is they're also lobotomizing it, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they're turning it almost like factory farming it. You know what I'm saying? And we're going like, no, I don't think you should think about your children like that. I don't think you should think about another like almost like species being, brought into existence. And so we're trying to, dude, our holding company is called Good Ancestors, because what we want to do is, that's our mission, is to be a good ancestor. Like, how do we think about everything from the standpoint of whatever we're building and putting into the world, it's medicine or poison, right? And we're not interested in putting poison out there. And so we're taking this stuff super seriously. And what we want to do is turn it over to the community and then trust them that they're going to help us do this, because none of us want to be God either. We don't want to make the decisions. Like, can you imagine actually being like Sam Altman right now? and thinking that you need to be the arbiter of truth for everyone, of what they can and can't think and what they can look at and what they can build.
Yeah.
Like, and it's almost like that's a big swing, man. Like, you don't want to be God. What you want to do is make sure God's available to everyone. And another thing that's super important to us is if you only care about, I want to own my own data and I want to have access to like this thing that self-improves, that will always be free. So we have a freemium piece of this where if you're just like, hey, I don't have any money and I want access to intelligence, it's like, cool, download this shit. Nobody can see what you're doing. It's totally owned by you and it's free. If you want to use other people's agents, if you want to sell stuff, if you want to use all the crazy stuff, you need Think tokens. But like, I was at a school in Austin a couple of weeks ago because I'm trying to figure out how to like give this shit away to everybody, right? Because I want kids to be able to own their data from when they were little. Can you imagine if right now you could be like, oh, when I was in college, there was that class, and it can like bring that information back, or like, I remember my heart got broken when I was 16. How did I get over that? It was like, oh, your grandma said this thing. And imagine being able to have that. Like, it would be crazy. It'd be like you'd have, like I said, it's like collecting ghosts of all these amazing people throughout your whole life, and you have access to it at the drop of a hat. But instead, education wants to own your data. That's another thing I found out is like most schools don't want to work with us because they want to own your kids' data, which is whack, right? But we're trying to almost be like a dandelion. So by the time people figure out what we're doing, it's too late. It's all open source and nobody can stop it.
That's very cool, guys. We're at almost the hour mark. This has been I really felt like when you guys came on that that I wouldn't be able to ask the right questions. I feel like this is very high level for me, but I really feel like our audience really got a big take on what you guys are doing. My mind is blown completely, as in I really wasn't thinking. I love the word. I really wasn't thinking enough on what we could really do with these agents, and now I really have to think farther than that. Do you guys have any time for some questions from the audience before we let you guys go?
Can I
ask
one more?
Can I say one more thing on that? Because on the benchmark, just think about what we're doing is if you're using right now OpenAI, you can do that. You can do that stuff with us, right? Just at a baseline, like, okay, what can it do? It can do that. But we also have a thing called Canvas coming, which is almost like a big open world where like just drag PDFs into it, put in YouTube clips, and now that becomes the data that the agent uses to talk to you. So we have some really cool, we have an agent, we have a browser that you and your agent can share. So my background's in marketing. So like, I'd want to pull up like a Pinterest board and be like, hey, you see this? Yeah, you see this one? Yeah, I see it. Cool. Make me a brand built off of that. So like, you could think about all the things, but it's almost like we're building, like we have a hammer, we have a wheelbarrow, we have a bucket. You know, it's like, okay, cool. We have chat, we have a browser, we have these things. Now what? Now I don't know. Now we give them to you and figure out what's possible.
I get what you're saying. You put on 4 walls and now a roof, and now we're ready to go. So I get you on that.
But you get to paint it. You get to do whatever. Yeah.
And this is exciting for me, guys, because I've always wanted to clone myself, mainly for a lot of things, you know, operational purposes, but mainly in case something happens to me that my kids can turn to my agent and at least always have that agent around to talk with, to console with. And, you know, we're in Hawaii, right? We're big on spiritual around here as well. We, you know, take care of the land, perpetuate whatever you're doing in a positive way, the aloha spirit, as we call it. So I can vibe with you in terms of what you guys are trying to do, especially on the souls portion of it right here. I got a question from Richard right here. It says, can we reset the agent in part or in full, or will that never be needed?
I mean, you can delete its memory. You know? Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting things here. So like, you kind of get to choose what files it has access to. You could say you don't have access to those files anymore. There are things that we are looking at that would put certain types of memories on chain that would be useful for that agent that you could decide to opt into. But in general, you'll have complete control over your agent initially, for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see where it evolves to, though, because once in 18 months, like you look backwards 18 months versus where we're at now, you look forward 18 months and you're like, I don't know if I want to take its data at some point in time. Kind of like you wouldn't wipe your child.
And we're experimenting with stuff, you guys, that we're not talking about really. Like we're experimenting with like an L3 for storing agent memories and stuff like that, so that even their memories are on chain, so you can pass it down for generations. Like we're you know what I mean? We're trying to almost go like, it's like, hey, pay no attention to all this other stuff over here about open metaverses and all that kind of stuff. We really want to ship something usable that you can use to like improve your daily life, right? But yeah, in the R&D shop, there's all sorts of weird stuff. Wow, so what I'm saying is, it'd be hard. That would be a harder. If you opt in to put it on chain, it'll be a lot harder.
All right. I hope you got your answer there, Richard. I got the bunny here. Can you talk about the murmur matrix and how that enhances an agent's abilities?
Man, Bill. Okay, so Bill, if you haven't demo we showed at ETH Denver, you should go check it out because that's all murmur matrix stuff. Mike, you want to unpack that one?
Yeah, so there's a couple pieces on the murmur matrix. One is when my body experiences like snow or rain, it gets wet, or when it experiences rain, it gets wet. If I go out, I might get muddy. If I get cut, I would have at first a cut and then eventually a scar, right? Like these types of things that happen in real life because we're made out of atoms, they stick. How does your body have a memory as an agent, especially in an interoperable metaverse? So like Murmur Matrix set out to solve that so that when things happen in game, they map across multiple things. And so the Murmur Matrix is similar to a couple technologies. One of them similar to what Google just came out with a couple weeks ago, where they came out and they're like, hey, we got all the big groups to agree on this thing called agent to agent. It's called A2A protocol. And one of the things they have is called an agent card. And so you may as well just, like, I've actually been talking with Lenny about, can we just change the name Murmur Matrix to just agent card? Because I think people kind of get confused. Murmur, like, what is that? But an agent card would just be like, what are the public details of this agent? So when somebody interacts with it, they're like, oh, that's what this thing is. And that even includes like what's the address of like where my 3D assets are and stuff like that, right? So it's like the Murmur Matrix allows you to be able to have an agent and to be able to take the mind, soul, and body, put them together, and then publicly expose the data that is relevant for somebody to know without asking.
And it makes it spatially aware. So you can do things like, we showed a demo where Mike and I were at ETH Denver where an agent did everything in it. So it made its own soundtrack using Gen, right? And then it used like ASM, and it was taking individual like images and turning them into 3D assets. And so it built a world. And then it even like harvested materials, and there's like a green sword. It makes this green slime sword. And it was all stuff that it had mined from that land. And so there's like all this crazy stuff that's like, once we're out of the blocks and we ship souls and it's going well, we're going to start introducing a lot, that type of like further down the rabbit hole stuff, But the cool thing is our partnership with Aaron and Futureverse, we're like kind of tied at the hip on a lot of stuff, right? We're completely separate companies. People ask us all the time questions about Futureverse. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. They'll be like, what about the crystal mining things? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. but like, when it comes to things like, Murmur Matrix, when it comes to things like, ASM, things like that, the cool thing about the stuff Futureverse was doing is it's all about the open metaverse, right? And so our agents are going to talk to all of that. So our agents will be able to operate in those worlds. We also have some partnerships with folks like ApeChain, some really cool stuff happening with ApeChain. And we're hoping to connect more and more people that are doing very cool things, because we kind of get to sit in the middle. That's what people don't understand, is like us not being a part of Futureverse is great because we can work with Futureverse over here, we can work with Red over here, we can work with the ApeChain over here, we can hopefully get everything to connect around this agent standard. So now our agent can kind of just, do whatever.
Amazing.
Also, Lenny's a genius. Like, Lenny came over to our team. She left Futureverse to come over to our team and be head of intelligence. If you don't know what Lenny is from the Futureverse team, she's brilliant. So she's actually on our side. And the cool thing is because she worked on all that stuff, she knows how to integrate it. There you go. There's Lenny. She knows how to integrate it all into what we're doing. She's a beast.
Awesome. All right. We got a question from Richard right here. How many niches should an agent do so it's not too spread out, or can our agent wear 100 hats?
That's a really good question, Richard. I have an answer for that. Mike, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I would just say start with one. And the cool thing about an agent is an agent can have personas. So in the same way that like I may switch the way that I do something amongst one group of people and another, less and less as I get older, I try to be the same me everywhere. But like with an agent, you could say like, hey, I have 3 agents. One's a visionary, one's an architect, and one's an engineer. And so I can actually like feed it something and have them talk to each other. And like they each kind of poke holes from their perspective, for example, right? So technically it's one agent, but I have 3 personas and it talks to itself amongst 3 personas. So it's going to be like learning to use a musical instrument, right? Like the like the recorder is just using ChatGPT by itself, and then you're going to move up in learning. But like everybody comes with a different understanding of like even their own mind, right? Like there's a lot of people who don't even like, they literally just exist and they don't self-reflect at all. Like probably 10% of the population or more. And then there's other people that are at this level and other people at that. So everybody's going to come from their starting point. And the cool thing is it's kind of set up for them to all win.
I would think about it like this: when you're starting a company, everybody has to be a generalist, right? Because you're a generalist because it's like, hey, I got to take out the trash, but then I also got to do this and I got to do that, right? And then as something grows, you become a specialist where it's like, oh, I'm just an engineer, I'm head of finance, right? And so the way that I think about it is like there's like this generalist agent that you start with. But for me, I build very specific agents because I want them highly focused on a specific data set. In the same way, it's like, oh, my roof has a leak in it. I can call a contractor. I can call a guy that's been a roofer for 30 years. Well, who do you think is going to have more specialized information to solve that task, right? Oh, I'll call the roofer. You know what I mean? Instead of just a handyman, right? So for generalist stuff is really helpful for things like this. You ask me to do something and it's going to go pick the model it should use so it doesn't waste a bunch of resources. Because if I'm just like, hey, help me with this tic-tac-toe game, it can use a really small, a really small model, right? It doesn't need to bring in the big guns and spend a bunch of money and stuff like that. And so having a generalist agent that's pretty much like, hey, I'm going to help you, like almost like a switcher, help you find what you're looking for is great. But if I'm doing like marketing, which is kind of my background, like I'm building like snipers, like just one that has literally been built around the best copywriting in history, in my opinion. Like it's Bill Bernbach, it's David Ogilvy. There's these people where I'm like, I just want their information in this very specific agent that I talk to about creative writing, right? Because I want it hyper focused. Whereas I might have one on like, how to be a better dad. I might have one on fitness, and they're all, so to me, it's like a lot of people work with a generalist, but where I feel like it starts to get magic is the personas, which is what Mike's talking about, which are agents built where it's like, I only want you to look at this data and to be an expert in this slice of how the world works.
Cool.
It's almost like this, dude. Think about it like building a company. Yeah. It's like building a company. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, we need a finance person. Cool. Somebody out there is going to build a killer CFO agent, and I'm probably just going to buy it from them. Damn. Or rent it from them. You see what I mean? Somebody's going to build a killer marketing one, and hopefully that's me. Somebody's going to build. You see what I'm saying? And the cool thing is, because of the way it works, your agents, when you build them, like let's say you guys build one around like running a great podcast and it helps you set it up and it does all this stuff. All of a sudden, it's like, well, I don't want to do that. If we're going to live stream, can I just buy yours? And you're like, yeah, it costs me $10 a month. And I was like, cool. Here you go. We're going to use your agent because you fine-tuned it. And now it's almost like, imagine turning yourself into a consultant that can make money for you while you're sleeping. Another reason why you don't give your data away, because then you can monetize your data in the form of a consultant that lives on your device that you can also rent out to the rest of us that just want to solve a task.
I love that concept about personas. So I'm in communication, and over here, the public utility specifically for the broadcasting station, I believe it's Spectrum. I've been in the back end, and they utilize an agent just to dispatch their texts. Now, it's not the greatest agent out there because it doesn't necessarily learn landmass. And here in Hawaii, we do a lot of directions from a landmass. Like, oh, yeah, where the King Kamehameha statue's at, the big banyan tree, right? And so, like, when they're trying to dispatch their texts, they look at, duration of time because of traffic or whatever data they got from point A to point B. But a lot of the roads here is just one road, 2 lanes. So it's always bottlenecked in traffic. And so the agent can't figure that out yet. So for that public utility, it's not been the greatest. On top of them being dispatched, if they don't show up to a certain job and finish at a certain time, they get actually written up. And if you don't show up at a certain time or a certain place at these certain times for like maybe 3 strikes, then this agent connects you to like somebody in the mainland. That's what we call it over here. And you're on probation. And so that's kind of how it's been working over there, because I put in all the infrastructure to put all that back end stuff in. And it's an interesting thing to see. So they've been running this program, I think, for a year now, specifically on the island that I'm on.
So you're already seeing it. And you can geek out on all the details on there's 4 different technologies that are starting to approach those problems that you're talking about. There's one model now where you take any photo that shows anything in the background and it gives you an estimate on where that is. And lots of times it's just a Zillow, imagine you just look out the window in a Zillow or anything. And it's oh, that's probably in this place. And it's usually right.
Yeah, like an example is like there's these gulches over here, and when it rains really hard, the gulches close down because of the landslides, right? So like an agent would have to like predict that would happen by looking at the weather and stuff. So that's the issue that they're having here is there's natural problems that happen that the agent can't predict right now. So, but we've seen it happen over here, and it's a very interesting product to say the least, and hopefully it gets better over time. We got a question from Bula right here. Do you have an abstract vision as to how or if we can increase productivity and intelligence, creativity? How can we get there and prevent sloth?
Okay, can I tell you how I would do it? And it is a true thing. I would just rent or buy Mike's agent. Like Mike has an entire curriculum he uses for like standing up companies and helping. It's called Coach Mike, and he's worked with all these executives, and it's all about like how to optimize your day and schedule and all that kind of stuff. And like, if Mike, I'm bad at that shit. I don't even think about it. Like my life, I don't think about it like that. So I would literally find a guy like Mike or someone like them who built an agent that helps me be productive. And I would pay them whatever 10 think a month or whatever they want. And I would use them because then I have somebody coming in almost like a coach that helps me be more productive. Right. And this is the thing that people haven't really clicked yet is like, you know, what's going to happen when everybody starts making a better version of themselves and making it available to the rest of the community? Because like everybody's got a superpower, everybody, right? And like, and all of a sudden it's like if I can start to have Coach Mike every morning help me get my day together, you know what I'm saying? It's like cool. That's I pay whatever, you know, you just see what I'm saying? It's the best of all the best people.
Just
so Bulla, that's
the
what I would do.
productivity
I would
one, good.
Mike.
I'll answer the creativity one, and probably a lot of it is because like I hate email, right? Like I hate doing it. So like automating it's really important because I don't want to be there. I don't want my whole life to be in an email inbox. Now AI agents can literally connect into your email inbox, your Telegram DMs, your Slack messages, and they can start to like be like, hey, this is something you have to address right now. Send Mike a text. Hey, this is something you can address once a week. Do it on Friday afternoon when you're just kind of doing your end of week clean out stuff, right? Like, so there's that. On the creativity side, it's looking like there's highly likely going to be a Web3 Midjourney company being incubated in our incubator. There's a team that looks like it's starting to come together that could be like very legitimate here. And so we're talking with Render and kind of all the folks over there just about, hey, what would it look like if we take this and make it even 10 times bigger?
And so Bulla, what I would say, and Bulla's been a part of the community forever, so shout out to Bulla, but like what I would say is the way that I prevent sloth personally is the way that I do it in real life, which is you have accountability, right? And so like if you're trying to make it to the gym every day by yourself, that's hard. But if every morning you meet your friend, you're like, oh, I can't let him down. You know, I told him 6 o'clock we're gonna be at the gym, right? If the cool thing about agents is they almost act as like these accountability people too. So all of a sudden, every time you log in, it's like, Jesse, you taking your vitamins yet? I'm like, oh, you know, it's like, but it's there and it's learning that it knows that on Saturdays I check out, and it's like, it's Saturday, we still got to watch what you eat. You know what I'm saying? And so the cool thing about these agents is you're going to start to have relationships with them just like people. You know, I mentioned my grandma before. It's like when I was around her, I wanted to be a better version of myself, right? You know what I'm saying? Like when we start to build the right agents and surround ourselves with the right agents, they're going to help us be a better version of ourselves, because it's almost like you're being surrounded by all your friends, but all of them are already now the best version of themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be awesome when you can like make a digital twin that doesn't have all of your stuff. You know, the stuff that you're like, oh, what do I do that? You know, like it's going to be awesome because you're almost going to be with like the purest form of that person, because it doesn't have an animal in it.
I see what you're saying. What I love about that is like I use it as an alarm clock example. Like, you know, I'm terrible at waking up. I'm terrible at like I'm always late. And so having an agent to remind me or an assistant to like keep me on track is something I would probably want to use and I would need right there. We have a question from the Bunny. Can it retain memories or emotions? I think we asked this question earlier.
Memory is the hardest nut to crack. Bill's asking all the banger questions tonight. Like, whoever figures out memory, that's when it's going to become magic. You know?
So the problem is like it can retain all of the data. Memory though is that thing of like quick quick response, right? So you can almost have like a Google for memories, right? So it looks them up, goes, finds it. But then there's even another layer of memories is it's qualitatively finding meaning in its interactions and self-tagging the important things and then making it part of itself. And so like there's just kind of this continuum that's going on. And right now we're kind of at like, technology's at the 20-30% mark of that. But emotions are actually really cool. We built and tested a character that when we put emotions in, and it was really funny. It had some of the best. It cussed people out in the most fun way you can imagine. I can't talk about it because it's part of a client's project. But like it was this funny like drunk. It would be like a drunk doctor, kind of the doctor who can't heal himself. And when you would talk with him, he would just say the funniest things. Are we about done with the questions? Because I do have to jump pretty soon.
Yeah. I think the last one was just security, but like you guys can kind of like, we can kind of close it right here. Yeah, Richard was just asking about
on security. I'll just say like the cool thing is use your Web3 wallet as keys. Nothing leaves your computer unless you decide it does. And so it's basically got the same security profile as your current computer and internet browser.
It's as secure as you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
If you don't use MetaMask, it's not going to be that secure. If you like put your keys on your computer, it's not going to be that secure. So it's pretty much as good as your kind of like crypto security is. It will be that good.
Get some fair side insurance, guys. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you guys for like taking the time to simplify this for us. I know you guys got to run, so really appreciate you guys coming on. Anything else that you want to ask us before you go?
No, we appreciate you having us. Like, giving us the ability to talk about this stuff is a huge deal. So thank you for your hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an open door policy here, and so we always invite anyone to come back anytime that you feel like you ever want to be a part of the conversation. But really, thank you, because a lot of our audience really needed to hear the simplified version of what you guys are doing here, and I think they got it in strides today. So bravo to you guys. Go ahead, Dee. You said you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just want to let people know tomorrow about about your space, Thinking Out Loud. So that's at every Thursday at 1 p.m. PST. Set your reminders for that. And then also, if you all can go to YouTube at ThinkAgents and subscribe to that, set your bell notification so you guys can be in the up to date to what they're talking about.
Awesome.
And
thanks, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and aloha.
See you around. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
guys. Bye.
Well, that was very interesting,
That was cool.
I think. What do you think about that, MetaBeast?
Imagine
I love it. I'm excited. I'd like to know if there's anything I can do now, or what I need to do to prepare for.
Well, I noticed that there are certain PC requirements. I think it was in the Batcow chat I saw that. But yeah, I think 16 gigs and above is all you really need on the memory.
Oh, I'm good on that then.
So am I. But I mean, like for everyone else, I'm sure there's a lot of people here with probably embedded memory or something like that they bought a computer from Walmart or Costco. But yeah, really, really cool conversation with these guys. I really thought I wasn't going to do a good job with the questions because I'm like, oh, these guys are high level, right? But I think the audience got a lot of information. I was watching the chats while we were having this conversation. How did you guys feel it went?
I think it went well, and but yeah, very informative, very engaging, and it's so cool that they're inviting people to join, the whole creating and building and testing process. I think that's a huge deal for, people that want to get involved. So yeah, shout out to you guys and the team.
I wanted to tell Mike, thank you so much for the personal welcome to.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about that the whole time. I'm like, I gotta say that because that was one of the coolest things.
And I don't think anyone in Web3 has done something like that where they've responded to every single person. Like, what was yours? He was in the tub for mine. So
that's hilarious.
He like had either a fan or used a hair dryer in his wind hair.
Oh. Yeah.
It was cool. Shout out to them. And real quick, I want to share their socials here. If you guys want, you can give them a follow. Right here is Jesse's profile right here, as well as Mikey. And then you can also follow them at Think as well right here at ThinkAgents AI. And as well, guys, the FAQs. If you want to learn anything, what is being launched, what is a Think Agent, any of that sort, it is all here in their FAQs. Go check it out. It'll also be linked in the description of this video. And that's pretty much it, guys. I think it's time for your segment, MetaBeast. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, let's get
Nice.
you here. Let me set this up, and we got the new for you right here. So,
Ooh,
all right, let's go,
enjoy.
guys. So, your favorite part of Future Watch, we have virtual destinations. We'll be right back.
Ready, set, go. Virtual destinations come ride the wave. MetaBeast is blazing through the Web3 craze. Infinite realms where the future's alive. Dive into the meta where adventure thrives.
All right, my friend, where are we headed today?
We are headed to a place called. Is my screen sharing? Just making sure.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, all right. A place called TMWSTW, which stands for the man who sold the world. Now, there is also a nickname for this one, and rightly so. It is also called the Sufferverse.
Why?
Sufferverse. Wow.
Why, you may ask? Well, you will probably see here shortly.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
One thing about this one is I would say this is probably the most decentralized one out there. Building everything basically gets done on the blockchain. And one of the things is, so was built on Ethereum. However, transactions are done using Ethereum Classic, which I thought was interesting.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
But when you come to the homepage, you get a couple places you can spawn into. You get a random popular spot. Houston is probably the biggest one of the main ones. Or you can spawn into someplace you live, which...
Do you have like a home area here?
I do,
Nice.
and oddly, spawn at random popular plot would be mine. Boulder is one of them I have. The rest are in other countries. I'm not exactly sure where. But
how long has the man who sold the world been online?
He's been going for... Shoot. I don't know the exact date.
But been around for a while.
Yeah, he's been around for quite a while. There's there's very, very few people, but they are those that are a tight-knit group. They do have Twitter Spaces every now and then, Fridays and Sundays, I think. They're fun to hang out with. But what you'll see in front of me is a faucet of sorts.
A faucet.
Yep. You can interact with these, and you can claim there's different tokens of sorts. Bob is for Bob the Builder, because you have to have Bob in order to build in here. Slag, I think, is for making vehicles. And then there's ink as well. Because people, you'll see a lot of graffiti out there.
Okay. So who is this metaverse built for, MetaBeast? Like what was this designed for? Like who's the person that this open metaverse was made for?
Well, the guy who does it goes by the name, they call him King. He's king of the world. This is real world overlay type of metaverse. I call it, I guess, blocky. As you can see, the trees, kinda, and the clouds. But the cloud.
wait.
So we're not seeing what you're seeing.
Oh,
Yeah. What's
Yeah. So
oh,
all we're
that's
seeing.
right. That's right. Because never mind. Because it always opens a new window.
Oh, I see. Are you able to share that one instead?
So, yeah, I have to change that then, don't
Okay.
I?
I was like, wait, is it just me? I don't see trees.
Yep. My
No
apologies.
worries.
I
No
went.
worries. We'll leave that there for now. It
Um,
happens.
Yeah.
I have 3 screens here, and I forget which one I share sometimes.
So good.
There we go.
So,
I always forget it. For everything I do, everything.
There
It
you
always
go.
opens new ones. So here's the
oh,
trees,
nice. Okay.
and the clouds. The clouds, I believe he has it set up so that they are reflecting the clouds as they are in the area you're at.
What is
Which
that on your back? Is that like a plane? Like a little model plane or something?
that is one of my vehicles,
Cool.
and
Oh, cool.
every person who enters also comes fully armed with an AK-47.
No way.
Oh shit!
That's so cool.
So
Is that a rubber chicken?
no. Oh, this is a retro Doge.
Oh
My avatar.
no! The thing you're on the right, the yellow thing.
So you can battle in here?
Oh, okay, never mind. I see.
So that's the thing on my waist is my spray painter, and the other yellow thing in my hand is my AK-47.
Oh, okay. From this angle, it looked like one of the rubber chickens held upside down. Whoa!
Yeah, I can see that.
And so you come. It's by default. You come with your own little pea shooter over there.
Yes, every avatar comes with one of these.
Wow.
Interesting.
I remember coming in here, and every time you hit water, which you can kind of see there, your character would like have to swim. It was so annoying. And there's a lot of other annoying things in here. Why it's called the Sufferverse.
Okay.
Steering is
Not the greatest.
Is a bit awkward. And I was gonna go zombie hunting, but
Oh, cute little sound as you're going.
Yeah, it's kind of like a speeder in Star Wars.
And so one cool thing is, let's see, can you hear it?
I'll be right back.
It's not playing. They have radio stations, actually. There we go.
Cherry.
Oh.
Pairs perfectly with twat swash.
And
one swash, one flick, one
you can
reckoning.
put commercials on.
Wait,
which is one of my commercials.
Did that say twat swat?
Yes, it's a twat swat. This is for the lip flick.
Oh my god.
LGF.
But that's funny that I was going to just tell you about that. And my commercial was on the radio. You pay for it, but
wow.
No, that's cool.
That's
they
cool.
play quite often.
But I'm feeling so sad.
That's your commercial playing?
No, it's over now. It's playing a song.
That's not copyright, is it?
I
muted it just
don't know
in
what
case.
I don't know what they do, what they radio station they're playing. I can certainly turn it off though too.
Oh no, you're good. I muted the sound, so you're okay.
Oh, okay. It's Billie Holiday.
Yeah, that's definitely a territory we don't want to go.
Yeah.
But that's cool though. That's cool that you can put music in there because that's something that's missing from the VV-verse. Can you do music as well, like bring outside source into Decentraland?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
see, that's cool.
And I don't know about all the copyright stuff though either, but people do it.
What's this guy?
That's
some big eyeballs.
That's a solar opposite guy. There's a cartoon called The Solar
That's
Opposite.
what Darvid really looks like.
Darwin has a body.
Where's evolved?
Yeah.
What is that? A monolith?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So is the
Wow.
landscape here, Metabeast, is it more like foresty, or do they have like different type of geology around
Like
here?
a city.
It varies from region to region, and
Okay.
no cities really as of yet. That would be something somebody would build. I'll show you here I gotta try to find my way around. Place is big.
You can't fly?
Yeah, I was gonna
up?
say you can't fly.
Nope, there's no flying.
Oh, wow.
Well, unless you have a vehicle that does. But somewhere, see, I left Boulder. Somewhere, my dog is out here in the forest somewhere.
Oh.
I lost my dog.
Where's
So
my
your
dog
little
gone?
airplane is it doesn't move that far. Looks like GTA 6 Stop It West.
See, I can't even find. Okay, yep, I'm headed back to Boulder.
The Sufferverse. Now I know why you gotta suffer. No fly mode.
So is there any?
You can get around a lot better than you used to be able to. Okay, where the heck is
Versus like
Boulder?
walking or something like that. Can you warp in The Man Who Sold the World?
No. You have to
travel.
log out.
Oh, okay, so that's what I was gonna say. Like, can you go back to reset where you started, or you have to log back in? Okay. I mean, log out and come back in.
And see, if I would have gone in a different way, I would have come in through.
Who can we shoot?
Building.
No offense.
Yeah.
Who can we shoot?
That's the thing. I was okay. So
looking for people.
I wanted to do the Readyverse last week. I still can't get back in.
Oh shucks.
I just need them to give me allow me to install it. But here's my commercial again already.
Oh, okay. So
how do you even know where you are?
He has zombies in here, and evidently he has taken them out. He's been working on putting in grass. It's just one guy working on all this.
Interesting. Okay. And you can't get into the Readyverse. That's not good.
I know. I've been in there like once. I'm all ready to go in there again. And
you want me to send you an invite to my VVverse? It's open. I'm kidding.
I can get into your VVverse. I still have your original invite.
I'm just messing.
Okay, so I'm going to. Well, shoot. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to go back in a different way. I'll bring it back up here in a second.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. No worries. So The Man Who Sold the World, one person runs the whole thing. It kind of has like PS2 type of graphics. And this world is kind of vast, but not a lot of people in it.
Correct.
I do like it more than the Crypto Voxel look and experience, in my opinion. I
Really?
like the way this looks better. Yeah. I mean, give somebody a gun and hey, it's kind of cool, right?
I like the PSA right there.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
At least it warns you ahead of time. This world is under development. Bugs and ugly graphics expected.
Yep.
Wait till your agent takes over, right?
All right. So here we are at a building I set up. They're prefabricated buildings. Okay. You can bring in your own as well. He has a test bench you can use to make sure what you're bringing in fits. It's maximum 10,000 triangles.
So how much bobs did it cost you to build that?
Too much.
That's not even 4 walls though.
I know. That's the thing. It's kind of pricey. But in here, there's no, you can't. Let's go back up to do it. But there's a locker here. Here's my inventory. So you have some bleach.
Why do you need bleach?
Because people spray paint your world, your
Really?
buildings. And so whoever owned Boulder before me, they didn't like. So they started to build this wall around Boulder.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
They didn't like whoever owned it before.
So if you got caught on the other side of that wall, you get deported back?
No, but they might shoot you.
So what happens if you get shot in here? What happens? Do you lose lives?
There's a scream, and then you have to log back in.
Okay, so it's not like instant death, like like say Ready Player One.
No, it's not over. But so see, here's some spray paint. You can see this is a post office box.
That's a post office box?
It's a post box.
Okay.
It's another way to store stuff. I have an Amazon box, which is also a vehicle. Oh,
really?
Yes. This is a swimming vehicle. The vehicles you want to have anti-theft and anti-drop, because if you get shot, you may drop. If you don't have anti-drop, you may drop your vehicle. And if it doesn't have anti-theft, then somebody can steal it.
So you need insurance in here.
Kinda.
Why would you want to be in here? People can steal your shit. Basically, spray paint your stuff that you had to pay for and steal and jack your car. Is that a dragon? That's cool.
That's a dragon. Yeah. Another one.
Look at that.
A green monkey.
Cool. So what's that on the walls? Is that kind of like
NFTs?
Oh, okay. And is that like puddles on the ground right there? Because you see like reflections, like it rained or something. All right.
Okay, what I miss? There's people?
Not a lot, basically spray painting. We found out we need insurance here. I apparently have been saying really throughout the whole stream. So
Really?
Really?
Huh.
Really?
Is someone keeping receipts?
No, I'm not that kind of guy. It's all good.
Okay.
I have a life.
Around here somewhere.
But I was telling MetaBeast that I really like this metaverse versus the last one we were in, which is the Crypto Voxel.
And look.
Is that
There's
your dog?
A doggy. You found him or her.
Does your dog even do anything? Does it move, or is it just kind of like a static image, like
a
VV digital collectible?
No, she is supposed to wag her tail, but for whatever reason, she's not.
Shoot her. Maybe it'll motivate her.
Don't shoot her. Shoot at her, but not shoot her.
Yeah, just a warning shot, like move.
It doesn't kill her. But she
tried.
I saw it.
That is what my real dog at one time looked like.
Got you. All right. Not with the death part. Okay.
So, I mean, she is.
Okay.
Avatar.
Were you able to create the dog, or was that like created? Like, is that like a predefined fab dog, or were you able to actually mold your dog in this?
I paid somebody to design it using photographs I provided.
Cool, man.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't shoot your dog, please.
So, and you can see there's the full building.
There's a tower.
Yeah, that's what I was in when we started. Or when I came back in.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can see my alter ego, One Existence, up there.
Yeah. So essentially, that's your tower, but not really a lot of walls yet. How do you
Yeah,
get to the
there
top?
won't
Is there an
be.
elevator?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So in this world, you don't use walls?
Some of them do have walls. I have a mansion. I will go ahead and show you real quick. I'm gonna have to do this again,
Yeah.
but I will take you to one of my other ones, which is on a different continent.
It's kind of like a pain or like a
little bit, yeah.
kind of an annoyance. Like you have to go back out and then come back in.
It is called the Sufferverse for a reason.
True. I guess.
Pilatus Rampur. We'll go here. All right.
Let's see. But yeah, zombies.
And yeah, I don't know where he took the zombies out, I guess, for some reason. So I'm in Asia now.
Oh, let me take this.
And okay, so let's see. Crap. There we go. F to open closed doors. 1. Here's my locker. I have a rocket. I also have this.
What is that?
It's a
flag.
Skateboard with a motorboat on it and a flag.
Oh, okay. Oh, and you got the
hey, the hoverboard.
That's cool.
So I can move that to my locker. This takes a second. It's being done. It's not instant because it's being done on chain. Yeah. And somebody created this little. You can play a slot machine while you wait for your transaction to
cool.
finish.
They don't want you getting bored.
How long does it normally take for a transaction to complete?
It varies. This usually this part's usually quicker.
It's like dial up again.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't have done that, but oh well.
It's all right. Like I said, this is one of the coolest ones I've seen versus like the last one. I just wasn't a fan of the last one.
Okay, so here it says taking to inventory might take 15 to 30 seconds.
Okay.
Fine.
Are we swapping out whatever you have in that locker?
Yep, I put the one thing I was riding away and I got out the hoverboard.
Nice. Very cool.
I never win.
What happens if you do win? Do you win like Bob tokens or something?
I don't know.
Oh, have you not won yet? Or you just
nope.
This transaction takes too long.
I don't come in here very often, so there. All right.
There we go. Let's see it. Where's it at?
Loading.
Oh, that's cool. A little slow motion. Ah!
Physics. Do you have to go and find the board?
You got juked.
Got it moved it to inventory. I didn't come to the one that had my mansion.
Oh, cool. That's the elevator right there. Little air pocket thingy. That's
whoa.
Levers?
This is new.
Oh, you're flying.
It looks like you're like dancing, like you're getting down and dirty in the sky.
Right on, completely out of the building.
Can you move now? Oh no! At least you don't like break your legs.
So, yeah, he's been adding grass. So this is looks completely different now.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad for what it is. It's not bad.
I don't even know what I have here.
You don't have the hoverboard. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know.
No hoverboard or zombies.
Yeah, at least there's no zombies. which
Yeah.
they played around. They played around, and you can you can get them to congregate in one location.
Like The Walking Dead.
What happens if you
Kinda.
get bit by a zombie? Do you become one?
You die, and then you have to log back
Or
in.
like reset. Oh.
Okay, so
Can the
here we go.
zombies go up the elevator too? You know what I mean? Like, can they chase you up the elevator?
No, not that. I don't believe so.
Okay.
So
they
are
just
they
kinda,
like?
they're really bad zombies.
So they're like Walking Dead zombies where they're slow, or not like Z Nation where they're like fast.
Correct.
Okay, phew. I'll take the Walking Dead zombies.
I just got a message from Josh. He says that sorry, he had family come over, and I guess it pressed after time, so he was not able to come on the show, and he apologizes
okay.
for that.
It's all good. Family time's important.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Josh. You're all good.
Well,
hopefully you're catching the replay. It was a really good conversation. And I know he's one guy that likes to utilize AI agents, so I'm pretty sure he probably would have enjoyed the conversation too.
I don't know where my freaking hoverboard
is. Is that like another asset you had someone make for you and they brought it into The Man Who Sold the World?
Well, here. I will show you. Again, I will have to do this evidently. Maybe I have it
Oh, he
set
looks
up.
so sad. He's like, oh my god.
Just kind of
He
shuffling
looks so
his feet.
sad.
He's just bored, waiting for me.
Oh man. He's like, where's my board?
Let's see. You can have signs or sounds played, and you can have a sign when you kill somebody that they'll read when it comes on. Here, I'll show you. We'll go to Houston. That one's way.
Are those custom signs or it's like a default?
The sounds, you can tailor them yourself. I'll play one here in a second.
Oh, I thought you said you can put signs like when you kill someone. Okay.
Yeah, you can have it say something when you kill somebody. It'll whatever you type in there. They'll.
Oh sheesh! Tell me how you really feel.
Here's where a lot of the graffiti is. This is Houston.
Yeah.
And
boy, that's a message.
Yeah, there's this is very, very decentralized. There's some crazy stuff in here. Where is it? I don't think this is it. No, that's a building. Let's see. One of these is well, you can't read it anymore because they spray painted over it. One of these is where you can have a vehicle made.
Oh, cool. Like a chop shop.
I just don't remember which one it is.
Arcade, you're going to want to rewind to the beginning later and listen to the conversation we had with the Think guys. I think you would really enjoy it. Later on, if you can, rewatch this video. Right now, though, we are looking at the metaverse, the man who sold the world.
And I can't tell which one it is. It's right off this. There's another post box.
Yeah, what do you think, D? Like, for me, like, I enjoy the look and feel and the movement and even the character versus like the crypto voxel metaverse that we looked at previously.
Yeah, this one is cool. It's a little bit more realistic because it's like you actually have to walk or get on your little torpedo looking thing and move around. It's not like you can cheat by just flying really fast over something or teleporting to another place. So that's kind of like a realistic-ish kind of feel.
Yeah.
A lot of this junk out here is, I mean, It's the metaverse is littered already. This is a vehicle, the shopping cart.
Oh, okay.
It has anti-theft, so I would not be. I can't take it. Inventory asset cannot be taken due to anti-theft.
That's a vehicle?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Ooh.
One of the vehicles is a urinal.
Okay.
Literally a men's urinal.
The Temu version of a TARDIS.
This might be it.
That's the urinal?
No, this is where you can craft paint products. I've never done that.
It's just I'm trying to read all the stuff that people wrote.
Chum.
Oh yeah. I've never done anything with the ink, but I am purchasing some ink.
How much are you spending, man?
50 ink, and I don't know how much that is, and 0.01 Ethereum Classic. To do the fountains I first mentioned when I came in, is cost $1 every time you do, and you want to make sure you find a really good one if you're going to it better have a lot of bob, which I think 20 is the most, which really isn't very much.
Hell is real. Jeez. Okay.
You gotta keep on re-upping, huh?
So.
Oh, well, I just saw that.
The Sufferverse, huh?
The Sufferverse.
What is that?
I don't know.
Well, that looks like a
it looks like that's gonna happen to you.
Yeah. A poop shoot.
Evidently. It's a healing station.
A healing station. Okay.
Yeah. Right now, bullets are free. Evidently, someday you will have to pay for those as well. I don't know who's going to do all that, but
we'll see what happens when that finds out.
Yeah,
is that a bull?
Yes, a green bull.
D, you're motorboating.
And somewhere there's a giant lady that leaves a lot to be desired. That's a mask.
Almost looks like a kid called Beast.
Yeah, every time you'd come into water, you would have to swim, and it was really awkward.
Okay, so now you can just walk in the water.
Yep.
I can't wait. Kind of be off subject here to get into the Beast world that they're creating. I don't know if you've seen Raspy, but he was like showcasing their open game or whatever that is, and it looked pretty cool.
Oh no, I haven't. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces here. Oh, there she is.
Oh, he had a live version of the actual, I guess, their metaverse, right?
Very cool.
Very cool indeed, man. It has that Splatoons vibe. Oh yeah, look at that. Yikes.
Yep. Isn't she sexy?
I don't know. It's far away.
There's a headless one too, right next. A headless one with like a.
The one spinning.
Okay.
Yeah. What is that behind there? Is that a butt plug? It kind of looks like a tail, like a little.
Very well.
How do you know what that looks like?
You don't really.
I don't.
It's called the internet.
Really?
You can find a lot of things. But this is very interesting.
This one is quite interesting, to say the least.
That's cool. I like this one. This one's pretty cool. I think the graffiti, I like the weirdness of it. I like the fact that you come packing in here with a little pea shooter. And I wish we could have seen the hoverboard. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
It's all right. Can people actually drive? Like, is there vehicles where you can drive in here?
Yeah, see, it's there. It's in my backpack. Oh, here we go.
Yay, the hoverboard!
Let's go.
Nice.
Now it better be accurate over water. It needs more power. That is cool. I dig
Oh,
that.
that's cool. The
Yeah.
the robot walking thing.
You're
In
gonna
the
whack
background.
a tree.
Whack-a-mole.
Find some puddle to go over. Yeah, this is really cool.
Well, technically, it's not allowed. If that's a true hoverboard, you need enough power to go over water. They're coming for you.
They're coming for you, MetaBeast. No, not me this time.
Physics don't matter in the metaverse, don't you know?
I'm just saying, like, technically, if that was a true blue hoverboard, it wouldn't go over water.
This is a Temu version.
It's a true blue hoverboard in the metaverse.
Yeah, you need more power. I'm just saying. But this is cool. I like this. I dig this.
You wouldn't be able to go through trees either like that. You'd probably get knocked off. But
yeah, very true.
Physics.
Now the next question is, where are all the people?
Yeah, the ones that I know are East Coast, so they are in bed. Because I did mention that I was going to be doing it, but I said it's probably going to be too late. So see, now I'm out on the Gulf of Mexico.
I see this. Isn't it the Gulf of America now?
I have no idea.
I don't think it's been confirmed yet. This is really cool.
I'm just along for the ride.
Oh, there's a bull.
Same here, brother. Same here.
So
no, I think this is cool. I dig this. This one's pretty cool because you've gone to Second Life, you've gone to Decentraland, you've gone to Cryptovoxels, and this one right here. So like 5.
Those are kind of yeah. Those are kind of the 4 main ones. There's spatial and on cyber as well. I would say were the early ones, the beginning ones.
Yeah.
That have been around for a while, and most people know the others. Not many people know about this one. This one is very unique. Even I have tried to have AI pull up a list of all the different metaverse platforms.
Is it a short list?
Yeah, it even when I tell it, no, the man who sold the world. Oh, that's like some song title of I'm trying to think who it is, who it keeps, like David Bowie or some shit. Even when I give it the web address, it still has a problem with recognizing it as a metaverse.
Oh, yeah. When I typed it in Google, it came up with a David Bowie song. The man who sold it. I'm like, so I have to type in metaverse. And then, it's like not at the top of the search list.
Yeah, it's interesting to see when this guy started. So it looks like they joined Twitter in May of 2021. So that's likely when this first started then.
Yep.
Okay. Earth-like suffer to earn metaverse game. Plot ownership on ETH and in-game economy on ETH Classic.
Which is very different.
Yeah. Weird. Okay. Well, that's cool. So essentially metaverse, you've done MetaBeast, metaverse. MetaBeast. You've done 5 showings of different metaverses. So far out of the 5, which has been your favorite? And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Decentraland.
Yeah, probably.
Why is that? Is it because you're
Second Life? Second Life is really, really cool, but I guess maybe because I don't know anybody, I have to get with
Carmen,
and which I think I tried to catch their show that Friday too, but I didn't see they had it that Friday, and then I forgot about it last Friday. So I'm meaning to catch her show and maybe go hang out, have her show me around if we can mesh times or something.
Yeah, shoot her a DM. I'm pretty sure she'd be open to that.
Because it's, I mean, it's pretty cool looking. Best graphic wise, I'd say. But I know a lot of people in Decentraland, and even though it gives me the most headaches too.
Well, usually it's the ones that you hang out in the most that gives you the most headaches. So, and that's because that's the one you interact with. So that's probably why then you interact with the most people in there, because that's a community that you've interacted and kind of formed throughout the years. How long have you been in Decentraland?
I'll be my 3rd year's coming up the end of this month.
Dang. And do you pay monthly fees like how Second Life is? No. Okay.
No. You can buy land, which has been pretty cheap. So I actually own land now. It was I owned land in all kinds of them, but I didn't own land in Decentraland until just not too long ago, actually.
That makes no sense.
I know, right? Well, it was way more expensive than any of the others. So, and I just picked up a land parcel in one called Substrata, which has been around for quite a while too, but you don't ever hear anything about. Maybe that's what I'll do next week, is Substrata. My dog flew a car there.
What? Yeah. What? Okay. So, I guess we'll wait for that one. But like, as an example, like, what is Substrata? I mean, like, crypto voxels, very blocky. This one that you just showed us, it's kind of similar to Decentraland in terms of look. Maybe not necessarily feel, but the look gives me like Nintendo 64 vibes or like PS2 vibes. But what is this Substrata? Like, what?
You're going to see some beasts.
Cool. I like that.
It's going to probably be... It's going to be similar to Decentraland and The Man Who Sold the World in a way, I guess. But I mean, yeah, because it'll be a lot of NFTs or GLBs. I'm still trying. I can't figure out how to build there, and I'm still trying to figure out which one is my property to even build on.
But you just bought property there, you just said.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
It was under $100.
I bought land, but I don't know where the land is or where to build it, though.
It was under $100, and that don't happen very often. So
wow. Okay.
It was a spring sale.
Yeah. It actually came across my feed from the Substrata account, and so I went and snagged it.
Nice. Well, congratulations to you buying all this virtual land.
I don't know about that, but
so what's the goal with the virtual land? I know this is your show, but you got me thinking now. Like, because you're buying different lands in different metaverses. Is that like the way? Is that you're collecting? Is that like the way that you collect? You collect lands in different metaverses because you're a poly-metaversalist?
I guess. I don't really have a plan. I mean, there is something I would like to build, but I don't know if I'll ever get good enough to do it myself.
How long does it take to build? Like anything?
It depends. In The Man Who Sold the World, it takes quite a while. You can have a GLB, you have to mint it onto the blockchain, whereas the other, like Decentraland, you don't. You can upload it. But The Man Who Sold the World, you have to mint it onto the blockchain. Then you have to buy a base. You might have noticed a square thing on the ground below some of the NFTs. You have to build that. Then you have to build a GLB box. A box to put the NFT on. So, like I said, in each of those steps, you have to go through the whole
You're pulling
slot
that slot
machine.
machine a few times.
Yeah, right. And it costs Bob each time too. So
okay, it sounds tedious.
It gets very tedious there, but Decentraland, if you have the GLBs, you can put them out and pretty much publish it in 20 minutes or so total time if you got everything you want together. But
So when you buy land and you haven't built on it, no one else can come and build on the land, right? Because essentially you have like the deed to the land.
Correct. Unless, I mean, in Decentraland, you can give somebody rights to build on your land. That doesn't give them any other rights other than that they can create something and publish it to your land. But they can't like sell it or anything. There's land for rent. People can rent if they want. A lot of people in the community have extra land and they would love somebody just to come build something on it. So there's free opportunities to build in there if you want to actually build as well.
Anybody build for you?
No.
Not yet?
No. That gets a bit pricey.
Really? Not even your friends? I figure you have a big barbecue pit or something on your land. You know?
No,
what I mean?
Old guy's got several barbecues across the Decentraland.
Yeah, I figure you'd have one of them. You know what I mean? Just a big pit.
No.
Well, MetaBeast, this has been your segment, man.
He did create for me the start of something part of what I want. And what also is a stack of books that make a building. So it's like 3 books stacked up, and it's a building.
Yeah, basically the books are the walls.
Yep.
And the roof, right?
Yep.
Very cool. So it's kind of like you're shrunk and you're like going through like a hoarder's house of books. Okay, so maybe a bad example. So my friend, well, the reason why I say this, so my friend, I'm getting into my Portuguese mode. His mom would just stack all these magazines in their living room. And so I shit you not, you walk into this house, it's an old plantation house with single ply wood. And there's just fucking magazines like Nat Geo, Times, and they're stacked. You got a lamppost on there. And so when you tell me that, like a big book stack of a building, that reminds me of that living room because you literally had to go through a bunch of shit to get to the freaking fridge.
Well, the what I want it to be is a build of sorts where everything is made from items that a person would use to write. So anything revolved around storytelling or writing, an author writing, anything like that. So that could be quill trees. He included an inkwell. For me, my thought was an inkwell stream, ink flowing out of the inkwell into it, and that would be a stream. Paper clips as a railroad track or something. Racers as park benches and pencils as street lamps.
Okay, got you. Folders for walls.
Something. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the different things and ways to do it, but
pencil borders when you walk through a door, something like that.
Yep.
An eraser as a door.
Yep.
Shout out to Gilo. I see you there. What's up? Let's go. Another person from Hawaii in the chat. Love to see that. Got to meet Gilo actually from remember Morgan from Storytime?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one of her friends that I was able to meet from Hawaii.
Oh, cool.
Shout out to the Hawaiian in the chat. So MetaBeast, this has been the man who sold the world. Anything you want to tell your audience before we transition out?
No, just thanks for sticking around. If you did, much appreciated. Hope you enjoyed the whole show. And I guess we see you tomorrow. Is that correct?
That's right, guys. We're going to have another, but we'll talk about that on the other side of the desk. We will be right back. Okay. But end your segment, my friend.
All right. Be safe, be well, be you.
Let's go.
Virtual destinations come ride the wave. Meta beast is blazing through the Web3 craze. Infinite realms where the future's alive. Dive into the meta where adventure thrives.
You know, I was telling Dee that we need to make your segment look way more hot. And so I hope you like the new transition. We'll talk about, like, people are wondering, like, what's going on with this. So, like, we try to segment MetaBeast's show so he can take those recordings and put it on his own YouTube channel. And so, like, it's really important that when we segment in and out that you have that kind of like dead space in between so I can cut it out. Yeah. So shout out to MetaBeast right there. I appreciate everyone for tuning into today's episode, a long one today. So I'm really happy. We got 500 plus people watching right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with the Think Agent guys. I really tried my best to have a high level conversation with them. So I hope you guys learned something at least for the simplified version, and you got the TLDR. A lot of the information that you need to know, whether it's FAQs or their websites, will be in the description of this video. If you're watching the replay, Arcade, I see you. I highly suggest you go back and listen to this, as well as anyone else that came at the very end. Go back and listen to the conversation we had today with the Think Agent guys, because it was a really, really good conversation. Dee, final words.
Yeah, this has been great. 2 hours, a little bit over than 2 hours, but this has been very educational and really cool to see another metaverse MetaBeast. So thank you for sharing that with us and the audience. And appreciate everyone that's been watching and listening in. I hope you got a lot of information from Mikey and Jesse, and got to explore another metaverse with MetaBeast. So yeah, he's your poly-metaversalist expert, your go-to for any of that stuff. So thank you all for watching and supporting. And thank you also, MetaBeast, for sticking around and just enjoying it with us for this long. It's been great.
Yeah, and you remembered Clippy, my friend. So I was like, that is a blast from the past right there. MetaBeast, always a pleasure having you on. I love it whenever you take us wherever we ever go. I mean, there's lots of places that we've never been. So it's always fun to see where you're going to take us next, right?
Yeah.
I for me, it's like I get to play tourist with you. So it's always fun.
Yeah.
Any final words you want to give the audience before we get out of here?
Nope, that should do it. Have a great day, great night, wherever you may be.
All right, guys.
See you all tomorrow.
Appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you.
And one more thing, let me show you guys. So tomorrow, guys, we do have another episode of Future Watch. 2 episodes in 1 week, because we're going to have Shay Byron on from Candy Digital. And we're going to get to talk with her a little bit about the acquisition between Candy as well as Futureverse, as well as from what I found out from last week's episode, that Palm and Candy actually merged. They weren't sold. So, we get to kind of like go through a little journey of Candy's journey, all the way from when they merged to basically being acquired by Futureverse. Go ahead.
There's a drop tomorrow.
And there's a drop tomorrow. I think you guys covered it, right, Dee? Somebody covered it. I haven't done a digital comic book drop information here in a while, so.
Yeah, we didn't cover it though because it's DC.
Yep. Green Lantern 2, I think.
Is that what it is? I can already hear my son. Well, here, let's check real quick. Since we're on the subject, are you going for it, MetaBeast?
I'm going. I'm checking.
Look at
because
that.
I was excited about it.
All right, let's see here. Let's check it out, guys, before we get out of here. I'm pulling it up right now. Give me a second. I don't see the comic book. I do now. All right, let's go. Okay. Let me share my screen here, guys. Boom. Okay. So it looks like Candy's dropping 2 critical storylines in their DC3 drop. You have Absolute Green Lantern #2, as well as Justice League, The Atom Project #5. So right there.
2 of them that I like.
Have you been reading the
Nice.
Absolute series, MetaBeast?
I haven't started reading it.
Ooh.
I really want the paper copy on me for some reason. I've been thinking about that. I'm like,
So you want the actual physical copy?
I like it because I did open one, and I did start, but it didn't feel right.
You have to. I feel you. I know a guy that you know that may have that comic book next week, Monday, if you tune into one of his shows.
Oh, he did go on his show. He was there yesterday.
I
That was awesome.
I ended up with 3, I think.
Nice.
You're lucky. I had to control myself.
Well,
I had to control myself, Key.
I was like, God damn, I don't think I can come here every week.
Sorry,
Key, but I don't know if I can.
You can go to support. You know, you don't have to hit the buy button, but then
but it's right there in front of
me,
and the time is very short. Otherwise, I probably would have had others because I was thinking about it and I didn't realize it. And the next thing I knew is, somebody won it. Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
So when the slabs came out yesterday, D gave me the weirdest look, and I said, "Okay, no slabs for Hinano tonight." So, but yeah, don't even, like, those slabs came out because we were actually on a conference call when it happened, and I'm like, those look like some great slabs that I'd love to buy, but yeah, it can get very dangerous because Key does give you a good deal, and a lot of his books are crispy AF, as he likes to say. Also, we got Gilo right here. We've seen Thunderbolts, aka the other team, 2 nights ago. It really is a good, not true to comics, but neither is MCU. I agree. It was a good movie, and I really enjoyed those end credits. They were part of my favorite. And I'm also a big fan of Yelena Belova, so let's go.
I had never heard of the Thunderbolts.
Neither did I, to be very quite honest. And when you watch the movie, you're going to be like, well, what did it really matter? But yeah, apparently they've been around a while. And, what was missing from the movie was Zemo. And who played him? He was in, number 2, Winter Soldier? Anyways. What's that, D? You're muted.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but
we're going from Marvel to DC, guys. This is what's dropping tomorrow on Candy. We're talking about Candy Digital, actually, guys. And we're going to have Shay on tomorrow. What time is this happening tomorrow, D?
That's at 2 p.m. PST.
All right, guys.
5 p.m. EST.
For that. Because this is going to be a fun conversation. I can't wait to talk story with her. I know my wife has had a conversation with her. It's my understanding that she is a big sci-fi fan. Oh, okay. We have a fellow Trekkie, just like our other fellow Trekkies that left today from the Think Project. I had to ask that question, MetaBeast. I had to figure out who we were talking to. And God bless them, those Trekkies. Love them. So, anyways, we'll keep it at that, guys. This has been Future Watch. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it takes a long time for us to get out of here. You know how we do. I'm Portuguese, but thank you so much for joining in. If you're watching the live stream or on the replay, we got 530 people watching right now, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take care and aloha.